Hey, everybody. I really hope we have no technical difficulties because I always seem to have some bizarre thing that happens on the lives. Can you guys do me a favor? Give me a little thumbs up if you're hearing me okay and seeing me okay and everything. Hello, I'm seeing all kinds of people saying hi already. Oh, Kay from Melbourne. Cold winter there. Although not as cold as here, I know for a fact. And Christina from Sydney. Gosh, all the Aussies are here tonight. All right, good. Excellent. Thumbs up. Thank you for that, Kathleen and Garden Dorian and Mary. Thank you guys. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to say hi. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just doing the AirPods because if you recall in the past, we've had the weird robot voice and then we had the whatever. It's always a thing. So I hope you guys are all doing great. Had a great week. I earned that this week. I feel like I earn it every week. So you don't have to talk me into having one of those. But it's nice to be able to sit outside and do one of these lives because it's been a while. It's been since I think February was the last one. Dogs are barking. They'll have to manage themselves. Great. So how's everybody doing? Hi, Liz from Ohio. The Jersey Shore is here. San Francisco Bay. How is it in San Francisco right now? Is it beautiful right now or not so much? Pixie Petals from Detroit. North Carolina, Staten Island, Nova Scotia on my list of places I need to get to. South Carolina, it's hot. Yeah, hot. So you guys, I want to know how things are going in your gardens because I'm going to fill you in on what's the crazy things that have been happening in mine. Maybe it's not crazy, but crazy for gardening. But I want to hear how things are going for you guys because I feel like this is sort of like midsummer check-in. Are we feeling good about how it's going? Are we ready for fall? Are we ready to just throw it in? Okay, so right. So this is great because I'm seeing like Garden Dorian saying wettest July on record in New York. Sullivan Owen says the weeds are trying to kill her. Yeah, yes, I do. It's chill, you guys. It's like 70 here right now, which is beautiful, frankly. I mean, normally I'm a person who likes it hot, but it's been 90s or more. It's just been I can't even, we'll get into it, but it's been so hot here. So, I mean, I'll take it hotter, but I'm so happy the plants have a little bit of a break here. Battling chipmunks and rabbits. Ugh, both of those are, I think rabbits are the worst personally. Hot temperatures, hot and dry. So this is what I'm seeing is that I feel like I don't know anybody who's having normal, whatever's normal anymore for weather, but I feel like everybody's experiencing sort of extremes. Either you're basically like getting flooded out, or you have no rain, like you're in Seattle and you should have tons of rain and you have no rain. Or, I just feel like people are either extremely wet or like me, extremely dry. Hi, Gail. Yeah, from southeastern Wisconsin. Yeah, we got a break today. That was nice. Yeah. Okay. North Central Washington, 104, 106. Oh, yeah. That's just crazy. Yeah. So Pixie Petal says half of the property flooded. Oh, I feel like it's been a really, really, really trying gardening year for so many people, just from a weather perspective. No, Laura, this is not botanist. I finished that off a long time ago. This is Uncle, I don't know, it's the other botanical one. Yeah, hot in Nebraska, and now you're gonna give. So this is Vicky from Nebraska saying hot Nebraska forecast for 4 inches. Unbelievable. So I'll tell you guys what's happening here. So we have had the hottest, driest summer I can ever remember in this garden. I'm kind of losing my mind just with watering. There's no way I can, like, my mom was here the other day and she was here again today. She's helping me out with some things, which we'll get to. But she's like, oh, that plant needs water. That plant's need water. I'm like, yeah, they all need water, but I can only run basically one sprinkler and another hose at the same time, and I can't be everywhere. And now things have gotten sort of so floppy that I'm even hesitant to run a sprinkler in some of the gardens because everything is so prone to tipping over that I don't want to flatten anything with a sprinkler. I have never experienced like anything like this at all. It's just crazy. You guys just hold on one second. I just want to make sure the dogs are okay. Hold on. Okay, all is well. Sorry. Um, so Megan, how are the dogs holding up in the heat? I'll tell you how they're holding up in the heat. They just hang out inside. They're loving today. They've just loved today, but mostly they've been inside, attached to the air conditioning vents and eating ice cubes like nobody's business. So I'm so the whole hot dry thing. I mean, it's the most frustrating, super frustrating, and it's just a really bad. I mean, I was looking at pictures from the same time last year, and I look at how things look then, and I'm like, I kind of want to just cry about it a little bit. I mean, I won't. There are far worse things in the world than to be dealing with some bad gardening weather. But I found, and then this is the other thing. You guys are talking about insects. A lot of issues with looks like thrips and earwigs and stuff. So what I found is that my plants are so stressed out that all of the bugs are like I can't imagine how there's a slug around here because there's not been any rain. But so many everything has been just ravaged by insects. It all looks like garbage. And I think it's all because everything is all these plants are so stressed because they're so desperate for water. So a couple nights ago, somebody had asked how we fared. We had big storms roll through. Well, we were supposed to have big storms roll through. So I was outside with the headlamp on until about 9:30 at night, staking up all my hydrangea arborescens and the Incredibles. I guess just those two. And because they're already leaning pretty heavily. Hi guys. They're already leaning pretty heavily just because they've not. I mean, I've never really had a problem with, especially Incredibles, flopping over badly. And now I was just so dumb. Now I realize that's because I've never had really drought-like conditions before. They were always getting enough water. So I was out there with stakes, and I've staked them up there. They look terrible. It was just a thing because I was afraid that if that storm came through, they would flop and they would break off, and I would never get them to stand up again. So I was out there pounding in stakes, and looks, I got to redo it all, but it's just such a mess. Dorothy, did you want to say hi? Here's Dorothy. Everyone's real slobbery and real messy today. And I came home and I don't know where they went for a walk today, but Odin has like a whole bunch of burrs like right here on his head that I have to comb out. Um, so yeah, so my vegetables, actually, you know what? The vegetables are doing okay because I have that on drip that works more or less in the vegetable garden. So most of the vegetables are doing okay. Actually, the tomatoes are looking pretty good. They're pretty happy with the heat. But and I just got my first cucumber last night. So, it's just been I feel like what I'm going through is exactly what everybody else is going through, even though we're all dealing with our own issues. Like I just feel like a lot of people are dealing with way too much rain. I can't decide. Honestly, I can't decide which is worse, too much rain or not enough rain, but I don't understand, it would just be nice if we just had like, every third night a gentle rainfall. Is that so much to ask for? Doesn't feel like it. Yeah, I was worried the other day because they were talking about us getting like 3 inches of rain. So I was outside watering because the ground is like hydrophobic now. And I was just afraid all the water was going to like really run off and start. I don't even know where it was going to go. So I was watering before it rained. And then we ended up getting 3/10 of an inch only. Yeah. So Nicola Flower Hill Farm, 13 inches of rain this month. That's insane. Oh my gosh. I hope everything's doing okay with that, Nicole. So yeah, there's nothing you can do about too much rain. To be honest with you, I feel like it's been an illuminating year for me because a lot of times people ask me if I have irrigation, and I'm often like, no, I don't. Basically, my philosophy has always been, Odin, do you want to come here? Come here. Come here. Show everyone the burrs you have on your head. Odin, come here. My philosophy has always been like water things well for the first year and then let them just kind of manage themselves, at least for perennials and shrubs. Can you sit? Odin, he's he's not interested in showing the front of his head. Hey, mister, can you look? Hey, Odin. Nope. Nope. You only get to look at the back of Odin's head. Um, nice. I combed these guys last night and you wouldn't believe how much fur came off of them. Anyway, so I've always just been, I've just said, well, we don't really need that around here. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, now I understand what some of you people who live in really, really dry areas have. So Yulia's saying she had a lake in front of her house. She put it up on Instagram. It truly was a lake. And Yulia, those cars who were driving through it, what were they thinking? Because there were cars driving through the road with water up to the top of the wheels. And I'm like, ooh, that's no good. So yeah, so anyways, I sympathize with Sheila, I feel like we haven't had any rain either, really. And of course, yeah, Linda, Southern California water shortage. I don't know how you guys manage that in those places with persistent drought, to be honest. It's really a challenge. Anyway, so the reason why I'm sort of losing my noodle over here is that this month I have 2 photo shoots happening at my house, and I don't know how much I can say about these. I don't know if these are secrets or not, to be honest. But I have 2 sets of photographers coming a week apart at the August 19th and the 20th, and then the following a week after that. And the whole idea was that the reason we sort of schedule at that time is because parts of my garden look best at that time of year because that's when all the dahlias are blooming. Well, the dahlias have not really started performing yet. Some of the smaller ones have, but none of the big ones are blooming because it's been so hot at night. Dahlias do not love that whole heat at night thing. So so they're not great. Meanwhile, there are things just dying left and right. Things look like art. You guys, I am kind of in a panic-stricken mode about it, which is why my mom was here today, because my mom came over today to weed for a while. And I actually hired somebody to work 5 hours a week. She's doing some weeding too, just to try to weed and stake and try to get this place into some sort of not chaos. And the biggest thing that I'm doing is Lila saying she can't keep a secret. That's funny. The biggest thing I'm doing is filling in all the holes. There's holes in the garden everywhere. So I ordered a whole bunch of annuals from Garden Crossings. I was shocked. I thought they were going to be kind of the leftovers, but to me they all look like newly grown annuals. They look like the same kind of thing you would buy in May. Brandy, the next wine and weeds. So we took off last week and Laura had a ton going on this week. So hopefully next week we'll have another wine and weeds. Thank you guys for watching that. I don't know if you guys, we're just having fun with it. Yeah, Sheila, I think you're going to be happy with what you get. I was really happy with it. Laura, it's okay. Laura's got she's doing one of these right now. The plates are spinning in Laura's world. And it was me last week that we didn't do one because I was supposed to be out of town and then I wasn't. Yeah, Sullivan said she hired somebody to help weed and mulch. You know what? If I could hire someone to work, if I could find someone who was interested in working more, I would. It's worth it because it just goes to heck and so quickly. So, Jamie, you want to know about Boxwood Blight? I don't really have an update on it, except to say that knock on wood, so far all the other boxwoods are still looking good. Now, it's not been a year that blight would normally be a big issue because we've had no rain. It's been a little humid, but we've not had a ton of rain. So it's not the kind of year that I would expect blight to be going crazy. But so far, everything else is looking good. Hey, Sunflower Steve is here. You guys say hi to Sunflower Steve. He got a new camera today. There we go. Nice. That'll be fun. So, yes, we're all excited to see Laura at How's It Growing is getting a new greenhouse. So we're all excited to see that. So that's what's happening here is that I'm losing my noodle. And that's why I didn't do any videos this week. Because, well, first of all, I'm on deadline at work, for a big issue at work. And I just trying to keep the garden held together so that it looks okay when like the big guys come here to take some pictures. So that's that. Look at all those sunflowers there for you, Steve. Odin, come here. He's shy. Come here. See if you guys can see. Odin, come here. Oh, Fergus is. Can you? I probably can't see Fergus. He's out there too. Come here. Show your head. Show your big messy head. Stop. Sit. There. Do you see? Look at all the burrs on there that I don't know what he got into, where they went for a walk, but. And then there's Fergus down there. He wants to be a part of the fun, and he never gets to come out here. So, oh, how are my plants from Roy doing? They're doing really well, especially considering that several of them got planted in an area where I can't get a hose to. So they're doing, I mean, I watered them in with buckets and buckets and buckets of water when I planted them, but they're all doing really well. The other thing I didn't show you in that video was that Roy gave me a couple of, I told him I was really interested in ground covers. And so he gave me a couple, he dug up some plants and sent me home with a really cool carex, really wide. I mean, the blades are about that big, carex, and an aster that he I'll do videos on all this at some point and get proper names, but an aster, kind of a ground covery kind of aster that he said only planted somewhere where where it's already established, because otherwise it'll just take over. And then there was something else he gave me too. He gave me 3 ground covers, which was really nice. So those are growing in, because I mean, my whole goal is that I just want the ground covered. I don't want to mulch, and I don't want to see dirt. So Steve says he still has Odin slobber on his fleece. Yes, if you come to my house, you're going to leave with dog slobber on you. It's just the way it is here. So, and then a quick update for you guys, which is that, branching on your hyacinth bean vine is blooming. You know, I had one that I planted from seed inside and started it, and I lost it. I think I lost it because I think I forgot to water it. And I'm really missing it this year. I should have started another one right away, because I missed it. That's such a good plant. My profusion zinnias are doing okay. Not great. They have been really ravaged by insects. In fact, I was just thinking, I think I'm going to cut off all the flowers. That's what I'm doing, by the way, to get ready for these photo shoots. So right now, my whole brain is, what do I need to do now to have things looking good then? Because I don't care what it looks like right now. So this is, I think, my last opportunity this weekend to really cut back things. So I'm cutting back a lot of annuals before I normally would, because my goal is, what are they going to look like in 3 weeks? That's my whole thing, is I just want everything to be reflushed in 3 weeks. So this is the other thing, since I don't keep notes, it's all like mental and looking back at photographs. Like, I don't quite remember how long does it take for pick a plant for it to come back and bloom again. So that's what I've been doing a lot of, is cutting things back and trying to get things set up so that they're looking good in 3 weeks, which is not easy for me to do. Guy Julia says my Tithonia grew its own zip code. That's what some Tithonias will do. Those suckers get like 10 feet tall. Oh, hey, Heather. I didn't say who's coming because I'm not sure if I'm supposed to or not. So, but there's 2 of them. There's two coming, 2 a week apart. So, anyway, so that's sort of why I've been losing my mind here. It's just, this is like I get nervous when I have, on the rare occasion that I have garden tours. I've only had 2 ever. And I get really nervous about that because it's so much work, and this is like that times a million. But, we'll find something good to take pictures of anyway. Yeah, the pressure is on, right? Yeah, exactly. Um, what else is happening in this garden? Well, my limelights are put just starting to put flowers on, basically. Not proven winners. It's nope, it's not. Um, oh, good, Donna. I'm glad the Chelsea chop worked for your David garden phlox. Yes, all the stuff that I Chelsea chopped is doing really well. In particular, the Veronicastrum. I'm really glad I did that. That was my first year doing it with that, and I'm really glad I did that because those plants look really good. And I think I'll do it some of them and not others, because some of them are really tall and starting to bloom now, and the rest are. I think the rest will actually be timed right for photos. So that's good. Oh, here, hang on. Let me scroll back. I saw a sailboat thing there. Can you talk more about your family got into sailing? That's from Sherry. Yeah, so we sail. That's what we do. It's a family thing. My grandfather sailed, so my dad sailed, so we sail. So that's how I was sailing. I sailed before I walked. So Martha says that the pictures don't come out perfect, your audience will be able to really. I believe that, but I also think these are pretty professional photographers coming. I got a sneaking suspicion they know how to find the good stuff and make it look good. That's my guess. So, Kylie's having bowl issues. You guys, if you have bowl issues, um, maybe you got some ways to weigh in on that. So the things that I know can work for voles is planting things, like in particular around here they seem to always go for hostas. So planting them in cages. I think I have heard people say that Repelzol from Bonide works for voles. So maybe try those 2 things. But if you guys have suggestions on voles, maybe you guys can share them in the comments. Okay, Colleen, yes. I have the Lotus in the galvanized tub, and you guys, there are 4 buds on it. In fact, I took a picture this morning, and this is going to be a really interesting way to try. And I'll probably put it up tomorrow on Instagram or something. But let's see if this picture does anything. So there's the big one. That guy's been there for about a week now, and then there's the 2 other tall ones, and there's a small one at the bottom. I'm more excited about those flowers and that Lotus than you can even imagine. Jamie, the garden with the next door neighbors is looking good. It's immature, so we've just been keeping up on watering it. But we'll say, I'm really happy with what we did there. There's not been a lot of weed issues over there, so that's been great. Yeah, the garage begonias. Nicole's asking about where we got the begonias that I have in the garage trough. I got those from a local garden center. That's it's Iconia. That's the brand. Upright Salmon begonia. Now, I lost one of them. I lost the middle one. I rotted. So I must have been watering like too much right in the middle, and it rotted on me. So that container I bought some new begonias. Not that I couldn't find that one though. So I'll have to probably fill in that hole at the center. I'm not really sure exactly what to do there, but that's one of the many things not going quite right. But that's gardening, right? I mean, fortunately, I think all gardeners do understand that things don't always go right. Marilyn, your dahlias are really behind, as are mine. Neighborhood Hawk this is from Amelia. She says the Neighborhood Hawk took care of the voles. That's awesome. Aaron James asked, am I growing tomatoes? I am. I'm growing about 16 of them, 15 of them. And so far, they look really good. So, well, hey, from the garden. Hi, neighbor from Milwaukee. I did order more. If you look at my post on the blog that I put up yesterday, I put my whole list of what I'm ordering this year. Daffs, tulips, alliums, And then I ordered some more Crown. What are those Crown Imperial Fertilarias? Because those are so fun. Yeah, so Brampton Gardner used chicken wire on top of the tulips and it worked great. That's awesome. There you go. Yulia, if you're a control freak, gardening is not for you. Boy, that is a lesson I learn all the time. Hi, Jamie Kelly, first year gardener. Hey, hope you're having fun. Hope you're enjoying it and having success. Yes, Liz, I have a blog, theimpatientgardener.com. The blog has been around way longer than the videos. It's a little neglected these days because I don't often have time to do. It's hard to manage the time on it, but the blog's been around since 2009. So there's some oldies in there, some goodies too. Yeah, Yulia, you're so right though. You can't control these things, so you have to just kind of roll with the punches. I did not write a book. No, I did not write a book yet. We'll just put that there. Emily, where do I order my clematis from? I order lately, the past maybe 3 years or so, I've ordered all my clematis from Brushwood Nursery. They have very good things. Sheila, I have no pump to circulate the water in the tank in the veggie garden because we have no electricity out there. And in order to run a pump, you need a really big solar panel if you're going to do a solar pump. So we have no pump. The fish are doing fine. By the way, the fish have babies. So that was fun. I went out there after we got back last week and I was checking out the fish. I'm like, oh, fish got smaller. I didn't know they did that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I have 3 kinds of fish in there. You guys have no idea what I'm doing with fish. Sorry, Mr. Much More Patient just pulled in. So I have 3 kinds of fish that are all from the feeder fish tank at the pet store. Something called rosies, wolfies, and guppies. And I don't think I was supposed to buy the guppies, but I accidentally bought the guppies, and I believe it's the guppies that are having babies because there are a lot of small fish in there. So Helen wants to know if the photographers are for a possible book. No, they are not for my book. I'll tell you that. Which, by the way, there is no book that exists right now. So that's just, it's out there, but that's not a thing that's happening. So they are for one of them is for a book, but not my book. So Mindy wants to know what kind of fertilizer I use for dahlias. I don't do a lot of fertilizing. I do seaweed fertilizer. I bought this stuff from Jung Garden Center. It's seaweed magic, and it's a little envelope of seaweed powder that you mix into, it's dry. You mix it into a gallon of water, and then you dilute that it's like a teaspoon to a gallon. It makes like 66 gallons. So I've been using that and everything, and I use that or fish fertilizer on the dahlias, and that's basically it. So Shannon asked if I had the little solar fountain still in the veggie garden. I don't. I got rid of it because the Lotus doesn't want disturbed water, so the Lotus won that one. So there's nothing in there, but the fish are doing okay. I'll just say this right now. I resisted fish for so long, and it's been the best thing I ever did out there. The water's super clear. The fish are great. Come here, Oats. Come here. Odin. I don't know if you guys can see this, but come here. Can you bring me that? Here, good boy. He brought me dog treats. Here. You have to be in the camera if you're going to sit here and beg treats. Sit. Sit, please. That's it. Okay. There. Sorry. That's Odin's job. He carries in stuff from the car. So he carries in groceries or whatever. I'm sure those are bears. You know, that's funny. We used to take the dogs into town a lot and walk them in town. And we once had a woman, we were walking down the sidewalk, and our dogs, I don't even think it was these dogs. I think it was the Newfoundlands we had before this, extremely well behaved. She pushed her kids into the street because she thought we were walking a bear down the street. I'm like, come on now. You really think someone's got a bear on a leash and they're just like trotting, like healing alongside? So, yes, Kyle, that's what I'm learning about guppies. I just looked in there this morning. I'm like, oh God, there's more. And so we empty that stock tank pond every fall because I don't want to leave it. It's going to freeze. I don't want to deal with it anyways. And I kind of like it out of the way so I can clean out the veggie garden better. So my plan with those fish is to just like put them up on Facebook Marketplace and offer them to whoever wants feeder fish. I hope someone will take them because I'm not keeping them. So, um, so I'm hoping, I don't know how many are going to be in there when we get around to cleaning out the pond, but I noticed there are some in there that are so tiny. I'm like, oh God, those are like a whole new set of babies. Guppies will jump out and die, like out of the thing. Yikes. So, Lee Seymour is a newer gardener who just got 2 rhododendrons and you have bad soil. So I don't grow rhododendrons because rhododendrons generally want acidic soil. So that's the first thing you want to do is make sure that you maybe just go get like a really cheap. I mean, you can do a proper soil test, but go get a cheap soil test, even from pH test from the hardware store. They're like $5. At least give you a concept of what your soil acidity is like. And then you might have to put something in there like aluminum sulfate or sulfur to acidify the soil a little bit. And then you're probably going to want to work in some compost to help improve the quality of the soil. Catherine, I did cut back all my Nepeta after it bloomed. It's all reflushing really nicely. Severin says small family owned pet stores sometimes take fish. That's actually who I bought them from. So I will actually talk to them ahead of time and see if they want them, and then I'll give them to them if they do. I kind of suspect they're going to say they don't want fish that have been in somebody else's tank in case they have like diseases or something, but I don't know. Mr. Much More Patient does not really get into gardening. He enjoys our garden quite a bit. He doesn't do any gardening other than helping me clean up. My Kent Beauty oregano. Yeah, I didn't have one. And then I posted something on Instagram on how you didn't get one this year. And my local garden center, who I shop at a lot, said, hey, we have one left. Do you want it? So I stuck it in a planter with some lavender. It's really pretty. But it's still pretty small because it got a late start. Donna, I don't know. I think with Coreopsis, it probably would rebloom. It'll certainly look nicer than leaving the dead heads there. So, I mean, with Coreopsis, I don't know if you guys have ever cut back Coreopsis. Let me know. I have an issue with Coreopsis. That's totally a personal problem. But I would, oh, by the way, Leah, make sure you see, Yulia's got some great advice on rhododendrons there. So, I would cut those Coreopsis back, at least so you get to nice foliage and see what happens. At least the foliage will look nice on them, right? Jamie, I would love to come over to Northern Ireland. Probably not on a boat, but I would like to come there for sure. Oh, Japanese beetles. They're bad this year too. In fact, I haven't picked them off the roses. So far, they've been just worried about the roses, but every night I pick a lot of them off the roses. I just do the hand pick and put them in soapy water thing. That's the only thing I've ever done for them, and I'm able to manage it. Able to manage it. Oh, Sullivan's got good information on the Coreopsis. She says it flushes right back, so feel free to cut it back. Okay, so Sheila is asking, how do you know what product to use on ornamentals that are getting ravaged by bugs? So the first thing you have to do, you always have to figure out what bug it is, because you can't fix the problem until you know what bug it is, because you start spraying stuff, you end up killing the good bugs who might take care of the bad bugs. A lot of times you can hand pick bugs. Like for instance, my kale right now has a ton of cabbage worms on it. I've just been hand picking them off. I know it's super gross. I wear a glove. Alpine reed, I do deal with slugs. I've been using the Bonide slug bait. It is safe for pets and animals. So Diana is asking about powdery mildew on my dahlias. I have actually never had that issue. You always want powdery mildew. You always want really good airflow, and you can. I mean, I think once it's on there, it's pretty hard to control, to be honest. But I've never dealt with it. Just make sure you've got really good airflow, and as per usual, insects and diseases tend to target plants that are stressed to begin with. So keep them nice and healthy, and consistent watering with dahlias is really helpful. You could absolutely Chelsea chop Amsonia. Well, sort of Chelsea chop Amsonia. I mean, Chelsea chops really help delay, sort of time the blooming on things that bloom later in the season. And Amsonia blooms really early in the season. So if you didn't like how it looked, you could cut it back a little bit and it'll get nice fresh growth on it. I don't cut mine back because the blooms just kind of go away. I never even think about it. Oh, tonight I am drinking gin and tonic. And it's crap tonic because we were out of Fever Tree and the store has none. Do you know that I went to, here's a little funny story, has nothing to do with anything. I went to the store and bought seltzer, and I bought the Fever Tree seltzer for, I think it was for the cocktail we were making actually, that we did in Wine and Weeds. And I bought the Fever Tree seltzer, and I went to check out, and the 16-year-old cashier went and got the manager because he thought it was booze and he didn't think he could run it through the thing. Because I realize now that young kids probably think that all seltzer is hard seltzer because they probably don't realize there's seltzer that's not like the alcoholic type. So that cracked me up. Okay, Caesar wants to know if I like daylilies. Who wants to break the news to Caesar that I sort of dramatically ripped all the daylilies out of my garden last year? I don't care for daylilies at all. I just decided I wasn't going to deal with them anymore. I ripped them all out. So, sorry about that. I know it's just I just decided that I sort of pronounced last year that, there's so many plants in this world that there's no reason to grow something that you don't like. Yeah, Sue from Garden Moxie says they're invasive. They are. And then you got to divide them forever. Oh God. Oh, Barbara, you made that daiquiri. So you guys, in the last Wine and Weeds, I made my favorite daiquiri. It's so good. It's not a frou-frou drink. It's a lime daiquiri, and it is so tart and so good. It's so delicious. Have I tried Seedlip Botanical? I have not heard of that. Should I put that on the list, Mary? Creative Mrs. K. I think if you want to start some penstemon seeds now, give them a shot and see what happens. I mean, they're just seeds, so give them a shot. Oh, Jamie wants to know about the plants I got from someone else's garden, which was the video I did. Actually got those from my sister-in-law's garden. They're doing great. They're doing great. I wish the European ginger would. It's doing really well. I just wish it would start spreading. But in my experience, those don't spread for about a year. They just kind of sit there and then they spread. Josie asked how the fig is doing. Both of the figs are doing really well. I've got the Chicago Hardy fig and then a Little Miss Figgy fig. The Little Miss Figgy fig actually looks much better than the Chicago Hardy fig. I think that one got a little dry. It's got some leaves that are looking a little crispy, but they're doing well. Okay, so Anissa is talking about a drink that is a mini can of frozen lime, frozen peaches, and rum or vodka. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Someone try that and let me know. The Sunflower Steve asked about the Baptisia. He sent me a Baptisia. It's alive. It looks great. It had one little flower stalk. That's all I got from it this year, but it was transplanted. No, it's looking good over there. Creative Miss K, how is the woodland area faring? You know what? It's doing pretty well. I mean, considering how dry it's been and the fact that it's really hard for me to get water over there, it's actually doing really, really pretty well. Gin and guava juice? I don't know that I've ever even had guava juice. Maybe I should try that. Mr. Rogers Trolley, can we discuss Stand By Me Clematis for a second? Isn't that the best? Yes, I love it. Here is a question I have for all of you guys. Um, who has cut their Stand By Me Clematis back after it flowered, and did you get a second reflowering on it? If you've done that, let me know, because I cut half of mine back, and I'm debating whether I should cut the other half back if they'll be reblooming in 3 or 4 weeks. Thor, I do not have any elderberry trees, and I'll tell you why, because I used to have them and they all died from verticillium wilt. It like ripped through my garden one year in like the course of a month. I lost probably 5 elderberries. So I just decided to not deal with them anymore. It's really a shame because I quite like them, but I don't have any elderberries. But I know elderberry liqueur and elderberry tonics are so good for you, and I know people just love them. Sheila says her daylilies are the backup singers in the garden. I like it. Well, that's good. I'm glad you found some good backup singers because they're not hired in my garden. So Jamie says the hydrangea you got last year only grew back this year with 2 buds. So Jamie, do you know what kind of hydrangea it is? Zone 9. Nancy, Zone 9. Best ground cover, morning shade, 3 hours of direct afternoon sun. You know, I think Ajuga's kind of with the Zone 9, you guys, I'm a little out of my element on Zone 9. I mean, Ajuga's pretty freaking tough and could probably handle that. I gotta think of some more. Budding Homemaker, I have tried the elderberry tonic and I quite like it. It's hard to find around here for some reason. Oh my gosh, the Senecio skyscraper. It's phenomenal. It's so good. It is. That is a must grow. I'm going to try to keep that over winter. It is a must grow. Yeah, Country Garden Girl. Yes, I do have a cinder block in the pond, as well as like there's a bunch of pots with kind of holes in them, so there's plenty of spots for the fish to hide. I have found a hawk sitting on the edge of it once, but really, I think those fish are so small, no birds have really realized that they're in there. Brenda says she's planting Hackamilacloa. Awesome, love it. On my must-have plants. Ice Girl Hydrangea said to cut it back in string next to strong buds. Boy, that is a hydrangea that I am not familiar with. But is the foliage, Jamie, is the foliage looking good? I mean, does it look healthy other than the fact that you've got no flowering? Because it could also be that sometimes it takes them a little bit to get some maturity on them. Terry needs some gladiolus advice. I have never grown gladiolus. Can you believe that? I need to fix that. I bet you Sullivan, I bet you know. I'm sure Sullivan has grown gladiolus. My hydrangeas, the flowers look good, but they're just so floppy. So, Laura, your angel wings died. I bet you it's probably must be the humidity there, huh? I know Yulia, you have a problem. I think Yulia has issues growing that angel wing senecio too. Suggestions on an evergreen that's red and not a barberry. An evergreen that's red and not a barberry. I don't know. That's a tough one. Barbara, my tiger eye sumac. I'll be honest, I'm not sure it's even still alive. It got buried in the ferns, and the deer were munching on it like crazy. Another one of those plants that's supposed to be deer resistant, and it was not at all. Oh, hey, lots of suggestions for Laura Petalum. I like that. Good ones, you guys. Oh, hi, Chris from Green Bay. I was just talking to somebody yesterday about the Green Bay Botanical Garden. They were saying it was looking really nice this year. Yeah, that's the problem, Sue. Those deer, they don't get the memos on what they're supposed to be. Do you guys hear the can you hear the leaf blower? So that's my neighbor over there. And they hire a lawn service to come in and do their lawn. And they do it every Friday at 5 o'clock. And they blow the leaf blower, which is fine. But the issue is they don't just hold the trigger down. They go, real, real, real. It's like, just keep it on and blow the stuff. Yeah, Chris, I've not been to those botanical gardens. It's on my list of places to go. Oh, hi, I'm all from Saudi Arabia. That's cool. Thanks for saying hi. I'm glad that watering video was helpful. And Lena from Greece, like Greece? Wow. Yeah, I think you guys. Oh, have we finished the decking? Here, I'll show you. The answer is no, but we're close. So you guys, we put in a deck railing. Here's the progress of it. Here, I'll show you. Sorry, I just have my computer, but that's the deck railing. So it's all done, except we have to put the little caps over the bolts on the bottom, and then we have to put the top rails on. And the top rails are going to be Ipe. They're actually all done. We've oiled them, cut them. We just have to screw them on. They're in the garage. Uh, so hopefully soon. Um, so Miss My ABC wants to know if it's too late to plant zinnia. I don't think so. I think you could probably in zone 7B. You got a while left. I think you could still give it a shot. Zinnias are about like 50 days or a little bit more. So I think you've got a little bit of time. Hi, She Cool. Thank you. I'm so glad that you found those videos helpful. Hey, Laura, I saw a notice from Longfield that they said they were closed for a few days because the visitor center there was a car accident there. That sounds terrible. Oh, Sullivan, am I loving that big planter or what? Here, maybe I can walk you guys over so you can just, the Wi-Fi is super sketchy, but maybe you guys can see a little bit. See if I can turn it enough. Where is it? There it is. Right. Where is it? Right there. I am loving it. It's awesome. I probably could have actually used a bigger plant, to be honest, but I think it looks pretty good scale-wise in the garden. So I'm happy about that. You guys can also see the limelight has just got like the green flowers on. So it's just starting to go. And Fergus is mad. So here's and these are the limelights by the deck here. You can see they're just I see some people with full on white flowers on their limelights. We're nowhere near that here. Oh, how did I Laura wants to know how I ended up covering the hole in the house. We asked for something. We asked for something to cover it up with for Christmas, and my sister-in-law bought us these really cool vintage seagulls. So we have vintage seagulls on the side of the house, which I like a lot. They go good with Fred, the seagull who came with the house. Yeah, Laura, it was literally a doorbell. We tried to hang the if you see that where's my finger? See that brass bell right there? We tried to hang that brass bell by the front door, and we drilled a hole, and we found out there was nothing behind the siding because it's old house. So there's no structure. It's like you go too far, you're in my living room. So um so we had to cover that hole with something because we can't the siding that on the house is no longer made, so we also can't replace siding. Pinky Winkies have gone Heather says her Pinky Winkies have gone wild. That's awesome. That's great. Oh, so Thor wants to know about clematis wilt. So clematis wilt is the group 2 ones are the ones that are most prone to that. So those are the sort of the earlier large flowering ones. So a lot of times they'll bloom, you'll get some bloom, and then all of a sudden, like a whole stem will die back. And that's pretty typical clematis wilt. And what you can do is you can cut it back. Sometimes it'll regrow a little bit that year, but a lot of times they're sort of done for that year, and then the next year it comes back. There's not really a good way to fix it. So, that I'm aware of. I mean, other than good plant habits, keeping it happy in general, but there's not like a quick fix for it at all. It's actually one of the reasons why I grow mostly group 3s now, because those are, generally speaking, they're not prone to clematis wilt. So mostly I grow group 3 clematis now. I have a few, 1 or 2, um, group 2s around, but that clematis wilt, and then they just look terrible, so you really gotta cut them back, and it's just a kind of a mess. So initially you're having an aphid problem. I don't have an aphid problem. I had aphids, a few aphids on the Belgian fence, but I have found with aphids, if I just leave them for like a week, they're gone. And that's because I have enough beneficial bugs around here that just go eat them. So they're rare. They've never, since I started sort of just leaving things alone um, for the most part, something else comes along and takes care of them. But a lot of times, anything I see gets aphids, it's stressed for some reason. So that's, you know, that's that. Okay, Sun Smooch. I tried a new tomato this year called Clementine. So what is it? Is it an orange? I take it it's an orange tomato. Tell me more about it. I always love finding new tomatoes. Um, I have started vegetables from seed, MD. I have started vegetables from seed for fall, because also I'm trying to get the vegetable garden looking good too. So, because it was so hot, the lettuce went quick. Usually I can, last year I grew lettuce nonstop. Never had any issues with it. This year, nope. So yes, I've actually started a bunch of stuff, mostly in trays, because, I can't, because I can't sorry, I'm losing my train of thought because I'm trying to talk and read at the same time. It doesn't work. Um, because I can't keep the water moist enough in the raised beds consistently. So I have cell trays in the raised beds where I'm starting some stuff that I'll transplant then. Okay, Jamie, let's solve your ice girl hydrangea problem. So first of all, not knowing anything about ice girl hydrangea, like what kind it is, um, I mean, the only thing I would say is that it sounds like it's super stressed. So make sure it's got good drainage, but a good amount of water. And depending on what kind of hydrangea it is, make sure you've got it sited in the right place. So for panicles, that would be in more sun. For something like hydrangea macrophylla, that can be a little bit less sun depending on where you live. If you live somewhere hot, it's gonna want um, a little bit more shade, a little bit more protection. Okay, at home with Steve, you have two varieties of lettuce growing strong in the heat. Do you know what kind they are? I'd love to find some more heat resistant lettuce, because I really hate the fact that we have to go back to start buying lettuce again. Because I don't know about you guys, but to me, the lettuce you buy at the grocery store is like, doesn't even seem like it's the same plant as what you grow in your garden, because it's so much better. So Jamie, you dug it up and put it in a pot. So, it might be super stressed now because now it's been moved and dug up, doesn't have a lot of roots. I mean, just nurse it along. Don't worry about flowers or anything with it. Just try to nurse it along, consistent moisture on it. And that's about all you can do till next year, and just kind of see where it goes from there. Yeah. Okay, so here's the other thing. My green beans are still not producing. I mean, they have flowers on them, they're about to, but I'm like, I did not plant them that late. I don't know why they're being so pokey. The basil I have cut back about 4 times already. It's going nuts. Um, and the zucchini's been really good this year. Last night we made a recipe that I got off of the New York Times cooking site, and it's a chicken meatball with shredded zucchini in it. It's almost like 50% zucchini. First of all, it was delicious. But second of all, if you're trying to hide vegetables in your food for you or your kids, that's a good recipe. Rose wants to know if I'll ever get a greenhouse. You know, it's funny. I often thought I really wanted a greenhouse because, I mean, who wouldn't want one? But the cleaning of them and the maintenance of them does give me pause because I know people who have greenhouses. And you have to clean those really well, or else you get all kinds of insect issues and all of that. I also don't know where I would site it on my property, um, because honestly, there's just really not an obvious spot for it. And then to run water, I mean, I would only want it if we ran water and electric out to it. So I really question how much I would actually, if I would ever use it enough to justify the cost of it. Not just because I would want to run it. If I had a greenhouse, I'd want to heat it because I would want to put my overwintering tropicals and stuff in there. So Mr. Rogers Trolley Dalmatian Foxglove, one of them's blooming, looking pretty good actually. They were a little pokey this year. I don't know what their deal was, but they're seem to be doing their thing now. Oh, I have a foxglove. I might put it up on Instagram tomorrow, but I took a picture of this too. Rusty foxglove is looking so good right now. It's a true biennial, so there's no. It was seeds that I grew last year, and they're producing flowers. But that's what it looks like on the stem. It's really cool. Very, very tiny flowers. Very, very cool. Laura would be proud if I got a Hartley. Yeah, listen, I mean, they're gorgeous. I'm so happy for her that she was able to that all worked out because I know how much it means to her, and it's they have a perfect spot on their property for that, for sure. Hi, Marianne. Don't worry. You can always catch up. Good to see you here. Yeah, that foxglove, and it's really skinny. It's very tall. It's probably 4 feet tall, and the flower spike is probably only 2 inches around, maybe. It's very cool. Yeah, rusty foxglove is good. I will grow that one again. I will grow more seeds from that and just try to keep proliferating that one, or maybe it'll reseed for me. That would be fabulous. So, Brandon, ball dahlias are blooming. None of your dinner plates are. 100% same story here. So keep in mind that the dinner plates take a lot longer to get going than the ball dahlias. So that's not uncommon. In fact, I have Linda's baby, and it is looking so good this year. It's way better than it was last year. But yes, so don't be, just hang in there, because um, the dinner plates just take a lot longer to get moving. Um, Mr. Rogers Trolley Dalmatian Foxglove. Well, the one time I actually saved the seed and replanted it, they were pink. So, it's an F1 hybrid, so you're not going to get the same thing again. Oh, Elizabeth, can you bring back a quick fire with wilting leaves? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I would hydrangeas are so tough. I don't make sure you don't overwater it, but keep up with regular watering on it. Because they're so tough. I bet it'll make it. My Nicotiana reseeds itself, and this year is not good. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. I have to go scrape out a whole bunch of seedlings, um, because they really and they're all tall this year. I think they're all struggling for water, so they all got tall and lanky, and they're jammed in there. Sun Smooch, your Salvia argentea is not doing well. I'm surprised to hear that because it should love the heat. I find that plant takes more water than they say it does. Mine starts growing really well once I water it. So if it's too dry, try giving a little water and see. Martha, too hot to relocate a hydrangea. Depends where you are. Depends how hot it is. I would, if you feel like you're worried about it being too hot, I'd probably wait a little bit. Wait until it gets a little cooler. So, Sullivan, we need to know what your husband's never plant again list is because we need to know what's on there. Sullivan says her receding from her Nicotiana is not as bad as the weeds. Oh, Eleni, am I saying that right? I hope so. How did the windflowers end up doing? They did great. They're so small that I wouldn't say it was a great show, but I think they'll get better as they sort of expand over the years. But they were beautiful. They look good. How hard do I think it would be to relocate a 20-year-old Annabelle? I don't think it would be hard at all. Keep in mind, it's probably not going to come out in one piece because Annabelles often they move, they root, the branch lays down, it roots. So like my Annabelle, where I started with one Annabelle, is probably 4 or 5 plants now. So it probably won't come up as one. I would say as long as you do that at the right time, which I would do that. I'd actually do that in spring, I think, before it's really doing its thing. But you could probably try fall too, but just be a little gentle with it. Yeah, Jamie. So the Dalmatian peach foxglove is a F1 hybrid, which means it will not come true to that Dalmatian. You might get the same thing, but you probably won't. And I'd made that mistake one year. I mean, you still get beautiful foxgloves. They're just not going to be the same. Nicotiana peach screamer. I don't even know that one, but that's on the list of don't grow again. My favorite Panicle Hydrangea. I have two. I'm sorry. It's the most basic thing in the world is limelight. Now, I have not, I don't know. I mean, if I were planting one this year, like now, I'd probably plant a limelight prime and not a limelight because limelights really are big and can get a little crazy. So I'd probably plant the limelight prime, which is an improved version. I also have really issues with chlorosis on my limelights, which is another issue that's supposed to be dealt with limelight prime. So that's one, and then the other one is Bobo. I feel like Bobo is a hydrangea, so more people should be growing. It's only like 3 feet tall, not even, and it's just covered in blooms. It's unbelievable. Miss My ABC, you should not have a problem finding Dalmatian peach foxgloves. They're readily available from a lot of places. So just take a look. Florencia, will we do an episode of Wine and Weeds with Garden Answer? Hopefully. I mean, I haven't talked to her about it yet. Laura and I will drop her a message some point and talk to her about it at some point. She's Laura from How's It Growing, and I will drop a message to Laura, the Laura from Garden Answer, and see if she's available to do that. I know she likes her cocktails, so okay. I love to see that Sullivan is talking about Bobo and Brandon and Becky. Ollie, suggestions for hydrangeas suitable for containers. Bobo would be one. Also, that's where I grow macrophylla. Well, the 1 or 2 macrophyllas I have, I think can be pretty good in there. Lana with the Bobos. Sun Smooch says your Bobos aren't blooming. Are they in enough sun? That'd be my first guess. I do not, Rose. I don't grow camellias because they're not hardy here, so I don't grow them here. But they're beautiful and I love them. Okay, Yulia, you found a perfume blue Nicotiana? Because I have the purple and the rose, but you're telling me you found a blue one? Can you send me a picture, please, so I know? So how often do I treat for chlorosis? I don't do. I mean, I throw some iron on there. I'd use the iron tone. It doesn't act really well. I kind of just deal with it, to be honest. I mean, I don't have like chlorosis where the plant really suffers. It just doesn't look great. Would Bobos grow well with morning sun only? It depends where you're at. If it's hot or morning sun, you might be able to get away with it. They probably want more sun than that. Donna, yes, Bobo is a panicle type. Is Moonflower? Brampton says your hubby said no. Moonflower is. I didn't know that Moonflower was stinky. Heidi, about the sweet peas. So yeah, so Heidi's asking about my sweet peas. I probably jinxed myself. I actually think I jinxed myself. Because they actually all of a sudden have started, like, just the other day I posted about, I can't believe how great they're looking. Well, starting going down the tubes right now. So I don't do anything special, and I can't explain why they're still doing well, except that they are in the vegetable garden where they're hooked up to drip, so they are getting consistent water. And in my experience, I think that that's the one thing that sweet peas want more than anything is consistent water. I also mix in a lot of manure before I plant them, and so I think that helps mostly with the moisture retention. And then I have only like fertilized them once with a little bit of seaweed fertilizer, and that's it. Um, I think you don't want to over fertilize them, and I don't think you should ever use like a synthetic fertilizer on them. And I don't know why I'm saying that, except that I feel like they're really sensitive to fertilizer. So that's all I'm doing. I am cutting back the dead. So I do have some vines that have died that are dying, but I am trying to keep those alive too as best I can. I mean, listen, at some point sweet peas have just done what they're going to do, and they're just going to be done because they do suffer in the heat. But I do feel like consistent watering is the key with those. So Sherry, a certain company sent you a box of Dahlia tubers really late. Can you save them for next year? I mean, I doubt it, to be honest. I think they're probably going to be shot by then. You could try it. I would say, I mean, what do you have to lose, right? You either try it, you either try it, try to plant them and see if they grow, or you try and store them and, you know, pick which one. I would say either way, that's rough. Oh, drip tubing hooked up to the rain barrel. That's cool. If you can make that work, that's awesome. What else? What other questions you guys have? Oh, so Patricia says, I have a weed that comes up intertwined with my coneflowers every year. Can't tell from the coneflower. I have no idea what that might be, Patricia. Um, Send me a picture and I'll see if I can ID it. Since we're in zone 5, it could be kind of the same. Okay, Ollie wants to know if anyone can explain the different types of hydrangea. You know what? Such a good question. And I will attempt to do that. I will just say that, first of all, Proven Winners has a really good fact sheet that you can probably find. Like if you type in demystifying hydrangeas, you'll probably come across the Proven Winners fact sheet on it. But basically, there's 3 kinds of hydrangeas. There's macrophylla, which is I feel like that might be like the traditional hydrangea that a lot of people think of. Paniculata and arborescens. So macrophylla tends to bloom on old wood, and some of them will also bloom on new wood. And I don't grow a lot of those because one of the issues with that is that a lot of times the flower buds will freeze out up here, or if something nibbles on them because they're blooming on the growth from last year. So they can be a little tricky. They're beautiful, but they're sort of probably what you might think of as a typical hydrangea. Paniculata hydrangeas tend to have kind of cone-shaped blooms or longer blooms. Oh, I forgot about oak leaf hydrangeas too, and climbing hydrangeas. Anyways, paniculatas have kind of cone-shaped flowers. Those bloom on new wood, so even if they freeze out or a deer eats them or you cut them back really hard, they will bloom on growth that starts in spring. Arborescens is Annabelle, sort of it's a mop head, like a big ball. And those also bloom on new wood, and you can cut those back pretty hard. They tend to be oh my god, I just thought of like 4 other kinds of hydrangeas that I forgot too. I better go quick on the hydrangeas. They can be a little floppy, but big flowers. The macrophylla are typically the ones that you can go blue or pink depending on your soil acidity. There's also Hydrangea serrata, known as mountain hydrangea, which are some of my favorites now. Those go blue or pink as well, kind of more of a lace cappy type look. And climbing hydrangea is a vine, which I have two of. And then what's the other one? Oak leaf hydrangeas have the beautiful oak leaves, beautiful fall color, bloom on old wood. But you can, that's sort of a very general review there. Okay, let me see if I can catch some of these. Heidi, I did not take the fruit off my Chicago Hardy fig because actually that one is still working on little fruits. I will probably do that, but the Little Miss Figgy came with fruit on it and I didn't take it off because I want a damn fig. I know you should, but I can't help it. Country garden girl. Some hydrangea serratas will bloom on old and new wood. I don't believe that they all do, but some do. Judy, has anyone had fruit on their potato plants? I have in the past. Don't eat it. That's what I can tell you about that. I don't think it's uncommon to have that happen. Judy, if your dahlia keeps wilting, it's struggling for water. I had some last year that did that. Just perpetually kept wilting. Just keep up on making sure they're well watered. If you go through a really hot period, you might have to give them a touch, just like a little bit of protection, but they usually get through it and figure themselves out. This is from Shannon. Recommendation for a medium height flowering perennial that loves shade and looks good with hostas. Okay. So many of them. Astilbe. Heckelocloa, if you're looking for a grass, I think those look amazing with hostas. Some of the Acteas, some are quite tall, so I wouldn't say they're medium height, but they're sort of lower, and then they have big flowers that come up. Those are three right off the top of my head. Somebody, I lost track of this now, but somebody was asking if we're supposed to cut back a third on baby hydrangeas. No, I've never heard that or done that. Brandon, tough stuff does not need protection except from deer. If the deer take off your buds, you got a little bit of an issue there, but mine have been bud hardy, including in the polar vortex winter when we got down to like -30, which is technically worse than their hardiness zone. Merch, Eleni, thank you. I did not cover that, and I meant to bring that up. Merch is happening. Actually, what's very cool is that I'm actually working with an artist. We have kind of a cool idea for some merch, and we are going to come up with some very cool things, and she's going to do some art for it, and I think it's going to be very cool. Short plant behind me, that's just a philodendron. It's my house plant. My house plants live outside in this corner, including that wretched spider plant, which is from 1992. I've had it since 1992. I can't get rid of it now. Oh yeah, somebody asked about the stock tank pond. Yes, I bought mine. Actually, I bought it online from, I think it was Tractor Supply. But yes, farm store is the place to look for that. Look for anywhere that sells like livestock tanks, basically. What is the awful weed that looks like a chrysanthemum leaf? I don't know. Oh, Yulia wants to know who I'm going to visit next. I don't know. I'd love to go visiting some more gardens. I don't know, but there might be somebody coming to my garden who we might talk to. Maybe two people. We'll see. Hannah, do I prune my dahlias? I do not prune my dahlias, except I do pinch them back when they're like a foot tall. And then when I deadhead them, I deadhead pretty deep. So that's kind of pruning them, but I deadhead pretty deep on them. Are you displeased, Fergus? Fergus speaks. Okay, Thor, you got to remind me, what is Eupatorium cannabinum? Because I've grown a bunch of Eupatoriums. I'm just not sure if I've grown that one. Oh, Sullivan. Yes, I'd love to come to Philly. I would love to do that. Let's just make that happen, huh? Sunflower Steve's been making deliveries. Been making deliveries for 2 days. Well, Sunflower Steve, if you're still here, how many sunflowers did you tell me you had in your cooler? Like thousands? Patricia, so if your perennial salvias are flopping open on you, there's a couple of things that can happen with that. One is there might not be enough sun. One is they might be in too rich of soil. If you treat them too well, they might flop open. Some varieties are more prone to flopping than others. I don't know that I've not had that experience with pink perfusion, but this year and sometimes it's just too damn dry. This year my what's the one that I have on the other garden? It'll come to me. It's one of the ones that a lot of people plant, just flopped terribly. So sometimes it just happens because they're just stressed. I think that Laura and Sullivan are planning gatherings as we speak here. All right, you guys. Oh, Sherry's got somebody honking in her driveway. Oh, playing the blue salvia. That's an annual salvia. Actually, I just bought some of those to fill in a hole in my garden. That's bugs are coming out. That's one of the plants that I'm going to fill in some holes in the garden with. Hopefully, I'm actually moving a lot of. I don't know. I'm just trying to move things around. No, it's not Maynite salvia. It's caradonna. That's what it is. It's caradonna. I have not grown that, Thor. Thank you for the explanation there. I've not grown that. Playing the blues is perennial for you, Laura? Well, that's not fair. Brandon, that's interesting that your White Wands Veronica flop. So one thing you might want to maybe try is maybe do a Chelsea chop on those. I bet you those would be happy to be Chelsea chopped. I just cut all mine back last weekend. The flowers are starting to brown. I'm hoping I should get sporadic rebloom on those, hopefully in time for pictures. We'll see. All right, guys, it's been, oh my gosh, it's been well over an hour, and my ice is melted. So it's time to go. Thank you guys for coming. I'm sorry it took me so long to do one of these. It's awfully nice to see you guys and talk with you guys, and hang in there in your gardens. Oh, Andrea wants to know about Crichton Honey Dahlia. Try Swan Island Dahlias. That's the only place I've seen it recently. Try there. Mindy, I've never done a video on running drip irrigation because when we did it, I just want to get it done. I'll just tell you this. It's not as hard as you think it is. That's really helpful, right? All right, you guys, I'm out of here. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for coming, everyone. Have a great weekend in your gardens. Hang in there. I hope whatever gardening woes you have sort themselves out. And well, if they don't, just have another drink. We'll whine about it some other time, right? All right, you guys have a great weekend. We'll talk soon. Bye, everybody.